Hey, it's Arthur Gisari, and in this video I'm going to talk about the 5-step Fundability Blueprint. It will be demo version, because now we have a book, we have a masterclass, we have a webinar recording. What it means? It means every time you as a founder want to raise money from banks, we have a blueprint for you, because we use that on a daily basis to help thousands of companies to get money from banks. We have simplified this process, and you can get an answer to a question where you are, how to prepare to raise money from banks, how does it work, how to apply to banks, how to win negotiations, how to get the best offer, how to raise your cap table, how to raise your return on equity, how to raise everything, how to improve your business using debt funding. And this is not the hooky video where you jump out in 10 seconds. It will be a longer one. Why? Because in this I'm giving a kind of a sneak peek of the masterclass of the recording that we do. We do them online, offline. We do that in a controlled environment with the 7-10 founders. We gather together and we go step by step for the case. And also you can just get a recording of that and apply to your business. So what does it include? It includes 5 simple steps. And before going further, I would just want to introduce myself. So I'm Arthur Gisari, and when I was a kid in a school, I had a dream. I had 2 goals written down in my essay. I want to have a black belt in karate. I want to be a businessman. In 10 years' time, I get my black belt in karate, standing over there. And somehow my business vision didn't come through. So I started working in Ernst & Young as an auditor. I was a junior auditor, auditing financial statements of top 1,000 companies in Latvia. Then I quit and started working as a financial analyst and grew up to the CFO in a big holding company. My job was to make management reports, budgeting, and all that crazy stuff that all the financials people out there. So if there are any CFO watching this video, you will know what I'm talking about. Excels, consolidations, automations, macros, and etc. Then I quit and started my own business because one day I was sitting thinking, Arthur, it takes too long time, nothing has changed. So I have quit my employment job and I founded my first company. It was a car rental company, then it was a lending company, and since then I have founded many different businesses in different areas and fields, up to the point when I broke up physically, emotionally. I had a divorce, had a bankruptcy, and I had addiction problems. Somehow I recovered. I talk about that in other videos, how I lost 1 million euros. I recovered, started my own brokerage company, so I help companies to raise money from banks, called the Further Finance. And in 2025, we started sharing the knowledge to all the other founders in EU. So in totally, to wrap up, I have 5 years experience in financials, so I can make all the financial statements with their eyes closed. And in 10 years time, I have founded 36 companies. Some I sold, some went bankrupt, some we closed. In total, I have calculated, I have helped more than 1,400 companies in EU to get more than 100 million euros in their bank accounts. This is factually fundraised. And we have more than 20,000 applications received in all these years. So I have some things I can share because there are similar patterns across all these founders. This is basically what I'm talking about here. I'm just sharing knowledge, what we've seen on things that are working and are not working. And it's applicable to any business, any country, any geography, any business model. It's SaaS, revenue-based, or it's asset-backed, it's wholesale, it's retail, it's manufacturing, early stage, later stage. It's applicable to all the processes, all the cases, and it's the same pattern we see on a daily basis. So we have simplified it and called it 5-step Fundability Blueprint. Why? Because 5 is simple. We have 5 fingers. It's very simple. So first you map where you are. You take a piece of paper and you write down where I am right now. Then you ask yourself, where I want to go? What's my point B? It applies actually not only to debt funding, to equity funding. It applies to your personal life. Let's say I want to lose weight. So first I map where I am right now, what's my weight, and second, what's my goal? I'm going to go to gym, get jacked up and gain weight, or I'm overweight, I need to get out of my extra weight. So it depends on my current situation. Then I do my homework, I prepare. The plan B should be relevant to plan A. There should be a proper plan, proper strategy. So build a lending strategy, and then you apply, negotiate, and win. So this is how it works in 5 different scenarios, 5 steps. It's applicable to anything. I got this idea actually when I visited Tony Robbins. That was Dean Graziosi speaking at this from the stage for the personal development, and I thought, well, it's a nice idea to grab it and use it in our funding because it works the same. So how does it look like on a timeline? So you are somewhere right now and you map yourself. You buy scales and you answer question, what's your revenue, what's your assets, what's your equity. These are the 3 things you as a founder need to know at any point in your life at night. I call you 2 a.m., you need to have an answer to those questions. You need to have the real numbers currently. Then you ask yourself, where do I want to go? What's my point B? How much money do I need? By when? What kind of money? Why I need that money? How I will use the money? Where I will invest it? What kind of results do I want to have? Then you win. So in order to achieve the point B, you need to win. Winning goes by applying the strategy. This is where, the Grant Cardone 10x strategy. This is where the application much better. The massive action. The massive action strategy is here. You need to apply and win. And before applying, you need to have a strategy, right? If you have a proper strategy, apply, you win. So in our context, you have a list of banks, you have an outreach plan, and then before that, you need to do the homework because sometimes you are missing something, right? You don't have data room, your numbers are missing, you need to have some internal fixes with accountancy, with numbers, you need to work on your EBITDA numbers, you need to work on your equity, you need to solve some legal issues in a company. So this is called homework. So these are 5 steps, we put them on a timeline. We start always with where you are right now, then we go where you want to go, and then we do the homework. We don't apply without doing the homework. We do the homework, then we develop the strategy, and only then we apply and win. Of course, it's all connected together. You can start with point B. You can say, well, I want to go there. But again, if it's far-fetched from where you are right now, you need to invest more time, more resources, and there will be a lower probability for you succeeding. So this is how it works. Okay, let's delve further. So if you have a coffee, a tea, I drink mate, then we go further. So step 1, you map where you are. So again, remember, this is the short version, the demo version of the full course we have. This is we put free on the YouTube, so you can use any piece of this content information in your business and apply immediately. Before going further, I really advise, if you're watching this video, you don't have your notebook with a pen and pencil, then you're screwed. Because our brain remembers much better if we write things down rather than we just steering the wheel or sitting in our office or home and watching this and just writing down nothing. Every time you write something down, the brain processes this information much better and retains that information much better. So you will remember more and better if you write them down. Just a quick tips and tricks from my side. But what's the resistance? Why most people don't want to know where they are? First, we're going to go through some psychology there. They think they're okay. I got that as well. I think you fully understand me when you read this. And maybe some of these points are applicable to you. If you hear that, you write them down and then you work on that. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. Okay, let's do something and let's see what happens. This is the resistance. Avoidance of discomfort. I don't want to feel discomfort. I want to feel like I'm king of the castle. Overestimation of internal clarity. I think I'm good, I think I know everything, understand everything, and I have a clarity on my EBITDA, or my enterprise value, or my valuation, or how much money bank will give me. Why? Because John from bank said me I can get $500,000. There was no credit committee, no application, just John said $500,000. And then based on that, I based my whole funding strategy. It's funny, no? Fear is exposing weakness. We as founders, co-founders, entrepreneurs, we like to be present, be energetic, be here, progress the vision, speak loudly, use our hands. But again, sometimes we're just exposing the weakness. I'm not afraid being weak. Are you? It's illusion of progress without the data. So sometimes you do the operative things without the data and you think you have a progress, but actually if you put the KPIs on the monthly, quarterly or weekly, daily basis, you have no progress. This is why scales are important. This is why most people ignore the scales. And again, for example, of the scales, if you want to lose weight, the first thing you need to do, buy scales. If you don't buy them, then you don't know what's happening with your weight. Only here. Hope-based planning, founder tunnel vision, we'll be quick on that one. Ego protection. I think we're just protecting our egos from real numbers. We're kind of putting the wall between our vision and the reality, and we just and we hope it works. Okay, so what about the financial mapping? So what about the point A? You just write down what's your revenue, and in the brackets, 30%, this is the average, how much banks and non-bank lenders could lend you against your annual revenue. Assets, 30-70%. Liquidity of assets, and then the equity. Equity net worth, 2 to 1. It means if I have a 1 million equity, the bank could give me 1 to 1, 1 to 2. At any point, you can pause this video and write that down and calculate your own financial mapping. Then you need to have an answer how much money is actually flowing on a monthly basis, how much free cash flow do you have, what's your cap table, what are investors, what are your personal finances, because here we make a few mistakes. One, we take all the money from a company, and second, we pull all the money in company without having any money for ourselves. And if you have multiple companies, then you make this financial mapping for all the companies. So where do you track this? I mean, just use Excel at first. Paper, Excel is much better because it makes some calculations. Paper, not possible. Don't go into some crazy AI tables or calculations or some online tools. Just start simple, and then you make it for a few weeks and then migrate to some other tools available out there. What sense can you make of them? Look, when you put all the numbers, then you'll be able to make sense, because now we have nothing to talk about. And actually what we do when we have a founder calls, let's say customer applies, he wants to raise money from banks. So first we ask all these numbers. We ask to prepare and to send all the documents even before giving an offer, before applying to a bank. And then we make sense of the numbers. Without seeing the numbers, you can't make sense of that. And it's some change of the number, and etc. Okay, so my example, when I invested in the steel business, I became a shareholder, then I became a board member, then we were growing business. When the COVID hit, that was good. And when the Russian-Ukrainian war started, Russia invaded Ukraine, it heavily impacted the steel business, so we're growing. And at some point, we grew the company from 30K per month to $500,000 per month. And I remember I was crazy. This is my idea. We're putting rebar from Arthur. Rebar, it's called armatura. It's the steel thing you use in the construction. So we're crazy, we're doing marketing. I was not, even though I was a board member, I was not looking at the numbers of the company. And I was thinking we're gonna make money. Fast forward, I lost money. This is a print scheme of my bank account in the CB bank, minus 1 million. You can check my video how I lost 1 million. So this is what happens. It's arrested amount, 1 million, if you don't do the financial mapping. Then you can put your own company on a map, XY, so capital is available, not available, and money is needed, not needed, and then you can map yourself. Frameworks are very useful for yourself, so we use a capital framework, capital map. If you're a turtle, it means you don't need money, and actually no one will give you money, so stay there, be a turtle, no problems. If you need money, but nobody's giving you money, we call it stuck potential. It means you need to do the homework. Listen carefully to why you're being rejected and just do what needs to be done. I remember this story. I was mentoring one guy. He said, nobody's giving me money. I'm a young startupper. I have like 5K revenue per month. Banks are rejecting, investors are rejecting. I say, well, okay, but did you, okay, banks are understandable. You have no assets, no equity, no revenue. You need to work for 2 years. Okay, what about the equity investors? Why are they rejecting you? Now, because intellectual property not set up correctly, and second, I have a old friend who gave me money and I gave 80% of share of my capital to the company. I said, okay, good. It means you have a homework to be done. Go to the guy and say, okay, we need to rethink the cap table. I need to buy you out, and then you clean your cap table and then you go to raise VC money. This is what you do. This means you have a homework to be done. So it's nothing bad from hearing no from a bank or investor. It just the homework needs to be done. Then they are rich and calm. The money is available, but I don't need that. $500,000 profit per month or per year. I don't need extra money. I'm bootstrapped. I'm okay. These are all guys that are sitting here. And these guys, the money is available and they need extra liquidity to grow the company. They have these customers they want to buy. They have these markets they want to conquer. They have these competitors they want they will buy out the competitors on the market. I have many stories to share to you guys that, how one company borrowed money from bank to buy out the competitor. Amazing stories. So you can map yourself and understand where you are. It sometimes helps you psychologically to understand where you want to go. Okay, next step, you define where you are going. Why it matters? Because financial institutions, they need numbers. They don't fund emotions. They fund math. So they take a calculator and they put it on a spreadsheet. They have their own internal scoring models. And me as a founder, entrepreneur in lending business, I have the scoring models of banks. I had my own scoring models in my own fintech lending company. So we know how to score companies. And we always start with numbers. We double check the numbers, we run the math, and then we ask some stupidity questions to check the yes, no binary stupidity questions, and then we check the emotions of the founder. We always start with the numbers. Then again, without a target, you either will get too much money, too low money, and you don't know why you need money for. So if you don't have a target, most probably you get rejected by the investors, by the banks. So it's clarity more than the chaos. And if you don't need the money, or you don't know where you want to go, you don't have clear goal, then why others should fund you? Because they don't know where the money will be coming to. Because people are smart and they know if you don't have that answer, most probably the money will be spent some other strange ways. You'll buy a new Rolls Royce, or you will have expenditure incorrectly, or you will then find out the strategy, which is not a good sign. It means you're not prepared. Before the first meeting with an investor, you're not prepared for the talk. Okay, why it happens? Well, it happens because people, your mindset is not specific. I need something from this and this, and we'll figure out later. Then there are over-askers. Let's ask more and then see what we can get. Under-asker. Max requester. These are the psychological typical founders. We can name them. There's no strategy. Let's submit and see what happens. And let's silent avoider. We just sit there and hope the banks and VC funds will reach us someday. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So 2 examples from my side about this. So that's the first company we founded. So I quit my job as a CFO, and I was calling my friends. I had no money actually, and I called my friends, hey, what kind of business we can make? I need investor. I found a guy from Uzbekistan. He was introduced by one of my friends, and I said, okay, I have a business, I have a lending business, do you have investors? He said, no, I don't have money, but I have an uncle from Kyrgyzstan. So the uncle from Kyrgyzstan flies into Riga, we pitch him, he gives us money, so we open up the car rental company, real estate company, and the lending company. So fast forward, we needed to understand where we're going, and we had a problem there. So with the car rental company, we thought, the goal of the company was just to earn as much money possible in the summertime, so in the wintertime you just survive. But it turned out in wintertime you need to make money as well, and we didn't know that. And second, in that kind of business, you don't buy cars on your own equity. You lease them. You take an operative lease for 2 years, and you don't buy Citroen Cactus as we did. You buy some regular Volkswagen Golf gray cars, which are resellable on the market. Their price didn't drop that much. We didn't know that. So plan B was rubbish in that sense, and we had to close that business in few years' time because it was not profitable. Okay, I'll skip that. You can check my videos when I talk about this one. Okay, so you have a point A, then you have a why business needs money, you have internal why, external why, how much, and then you have your funding options on the table. So why we need money? We need more money to spend on ads and marketing and getting more customers, hiring sales. Then you need them to do working capital, buy goods, work on the goods, on services, and deliver the goods. Hiring the best people, growing expansion, new customers, new products, buying competitors, investing in equipment and technology, inventory, supply chain. You can refinance more expensive debt. You can M&A and strategic invest, buy real estate, invest in R&D and product development, and have as an emergency buffer. So these are the reasons why we need money. You can pause here and take a look why you need money for your business currently and work on that. If you don't have an answer to that, no problems. You just spend time on that, you'll have an answer. This one I stole from Tony Robbins. It's like 6 human basic needs. and I transferred it to the capital map. So more capital, more money gives us more certainty. It's a cash buffer. We have more options we can spend our money to. With more money on our bank account, we have more credibility and people perceive us much better because we have more money, more options. We can make more loyal connections with the banks, with the partners, with the players in the market. We can scale much easier and grow, and we can have a bigger impact on anything we can do. Yeah, money maybe don't buy happiness, but they give you more options to have a bigger impact in life. Okay, so when you do that, you define the results of your business within the next 6 to 12 months, which investments will yield the higher probability, and you quantify it. You have few scenarios. For example, I need 100K to buy equipment by next 3 months to achieve the production output 2 times higher than currently. Then you write it down, and then you work with that. Again, it should be smart, it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And then you take a look at your funding options. So you have your plan, and then you have 3 options. You bootstrap, you use your own money to grow the business if you have enough money. There are always pluses and minuses. I talk about more in the workshop that we do. Then you raise equity, raise friends, family, fools, angels, VC, private equities, and then you give out shares or pluses, minuses. Plus you have, they don't ask personal guarantees maybe that much. You can go bankrupt if something goes wrong and no problems as compared to a bank. But in return, you give out shares. And then you raise debt. You debt banks, EU, alternative lenders, how much? And there are pluses and minuses. And there's nothing right or wrong, or one strategy is better than the other. It all depends on the country and the business model you are. Okay, so you do that. You consider all the different options on the table, and then you, having all these options, then you understand what's the best. I'll share a quick example with this customer. So the guy calls me and says, Arthur, we have a land plot, we're building buildings, we have 3 they're building 3 retail residential apartments. I think it was 200 flats, something like that. They had 0 equity, they had only land, and the guy in the sales was brilliant. He was collecting reservation money from customers against the land, no equity, no buildings. So smart guy. But at some point that was not enough to continue building, because imagine building 3 houses at the same time. So he said, can you help me? Banks, they want 30-40% of self equity to finance. They don't have that. They have only land. What to do? You go to alternative lenders. So we did loan to value financing. We helped them to get a few millions on the table. So they would continue building three houses. At some point they were stuck, went to bank. Bank says again, no equity, no extra debt. And they were stuck at this point that they have no possibility to finish all the 3 buildings at the same time. So they changed the strategy. They had to froze 2 buildings we helped them to raise another financing round to finish the 3rd building. And only then they commission that, and they have more proceeds, and they can continue building another buildings. So this is what happens when you have unrealistic goal. Okay, so the day 3 is you do your homework. So you do your homework after you know where you want to go. Okay, so why it's critical? Because bank trust numbers. They don't trust your enthusiasm, your emotions, your vision. It's good to have. It's more to the VC banks. No. And if you have messy data, the numbers are not intact. It means they have been changed many times. Assumptions were changed many times. There were too many people involved, and there was no second opinion on that. It's not good. So it just shows like the lack of preparation. If you don't put that much time in the preparation for the process, the other person reads that and thinks, okay, that guy's not serious. What to do? And it's a myth. I don't know why it's there, but you have only real one shot to go to a bank. If you go, you get rejected. You get a homework to be done. If you don't do the homework and nothing changes in your business, why should you apply again? Only if bank says everything is nice, but you need to show me the same numbers in 1 year time, file annual report, and then we'll give you money. Of course, then it's doable. But otherwise, no. So the clarity is very important there, and it puts you in this professional bordereau category. It puts you from amateur to professional. And it increases your negotiation power because you show that you're prepared. And remember, you'll be better prepared, you have more information, a better understanding how banks are working, how to communicate with the banks, and what do they need. Okay, so you're a serious founder. I'll share a few pictures. We have very funny psychological archetypes of different borrowers. I just pulled a few of those from our big presentation. This is the spreadsheet warrior, maybe to you. He lives in Excel like a Minecraft, has 7 versions of P&L, and the emotion behind it, perfection is disguised in productivity. So you're kind of productive, but it's not. You're just living in Excel, not living in real life, and banks see that and know that, and they don't like that much. Then they're dream pitchers. These guys can talk for hours. They need a meeting, they need a Zoom meeting, a one-on-one personal meeting, but have no numbers. They don't have the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement, no cash flow projections, no nothing. They just pitch. And the emotion behind is avoiding the reality, I think, avoiding the numbers. And they think the story will get them far, but you need to have real numbers. Okay, so what are the homework that needs to be done? So you need to have a bank ready overall checklist of like a data room ready, then the company needs to be ready, and the forecast and narrative. I'll be very short here. So for the documents, it's a consistency, it's a naming, and it's all list of necessary documents for you to apply for a bank. So final versus version 3, really final, is not a good way of naming the file. So this is the good example. There's a data room, whatever, your drive in your computer, and then you have all the list of necessary documents with properly named and properly structured. You can actually improve this, even this one with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that looks much better. And the number should be consistent across all the different files. So this is the homework for you to get the data room together. Pro tip, it hurts. Yes, it hurts. It hurts. Nobody wants to do the homework. We get that from school, and then we continue doing that. But it's the roots, guys. It's the roots. You need to do that in order to get better. Professionals, they do the same thing. They repeat it on a daily basis. So put it all together. You put, I'm the business of, you do the pitch. So your homework, you finally do the pitch. I'm a business of wholesaling chairs. My experience is 10 years. We have 1 million revenue per year, and we have a plan to grow a business twice. That's why we need another 1 million euro in next 6 months. With that, we'll achieve extra profit of 200,000 by end of this year. We will use this 1 million. I'm just making the numbers now. In the case, we'll use that money for buying new equipment, 600,000, 200,000 to buy in the working capital to the necessary materials, and then 200,000 for the sales. And we will repay from the increase of the profit and the proceeds of the cash flow. And it's good time to lend us that money because the market is growing. We have contracts on the table for increasing our revenue. So you need to have that pitch in 30 seconds. You can pause here, and if you can't do the pitch, then you're not ready to go to banks. You are not ready to go for the next step. In order to ever speak with a bank, unless you're just calling, hey, can you advise me how to do that properly? Yes, you can do that without, but when you're ready and professionally applied, you need to be able to make your pitch in 30 seconds for your business. If you're not ready to do that pitch, most probably you need your homework to be done. Okay. Then we go to the build a landing strategy. So this step is critical because it's a structured process. There are no emotions, no nice ideas, no crazy chaos. It's a structured process. If it's not structured, you will waste energy, waste time, and do many mistakes. And the wrong bank, automatic rejection. So there are many people, many different archetypes. I like this one, to my bank. I love letter to my bank. It puts all the single effort hope to one financial institution, and then sits and waits like a child that he will get yes, yes, yes. And then 1 month he gets no. So the emotion behind, you see it. You need to be, I think, grown up. I think this is childish believing in the one thing will help you. One employee will help you. One customer will help you. Like one lawyer will help you. I don't know. So you need to diversify that. Then there are blind hunters. They spray different applications to random lenders, not knowing to whom they send, what they sent, and they end up with rejections. So again, why? Because you need to strategic thinking. You need to put that mask off and start thinking strategically. So what are the components of the strategy? We're again very brief of this because it's a demo. So you have internal inputs, and then they have a lender universe in your country. So what are the internal criteria? You need to have answers to these questions. How much money do you actually need? For example, I need 300K for 18 months. Maximum interest rate you can afford. You can calculate it backwards from your unit economics, from the plans of the growing of the company. So based on margin, how much you can repay on a monthly basis. Then there are use of funds. What exactly are you need money for? Do you have real offers where you invest? How much time it will take? So these are your inputs. These are your company criteria, internal inputs, before ever going to a bank. Then you consider banking inputs. What type of lenders there are in my country? Tier 1, Tier 2 alternative lenders. What's the size of the bank's loans portfolio? If it's large, it's conservative but stable. Depends on the country. Small, aggressive, selective. It shows the capacity and risk appetite. And then there's size, if you want to be very specific, size of the business loan portfolio versus retail. Some banks are more focused on retail, some more on business. So for example, if the business lending is only 5% of the total loan book, they're not that interested in you. But if it's more, they're more motivated, right? Okay, so how to map it? You have your inputs, your money, product, urgency, and you have lender inputs. Ticket size, product, speed, and then you map them. If you need 1 million and you know that bank gives starting from 10 million, there's no point in applying. If you need 1 million and the lender gives maximum 500,000, that's an overkill as well. The same for the product. If you know it's asset-backed financing, what's the point for applying to revenue-based financing? If you don't sell on the overpayment, like you don't sell with 36 days payment to your customers, you don't need invoice financing. But then again, you can talk to a bank manager and maybe you can say to your customers, hey, you're paying me in 0 days. If I give you 30 days or 60 days payment notice and I increase your price by X, so you'll be able to say yes to do that. Therefore, you give them 60 days payment. They pay you after 60 days, you increase prices by 6%. And for example, you pay 4% to a bank for invoice financing and you have 2% extra on top. So this is the way how you can earn money. So in that case, yes. And then you map urgency versus the speed, because some banks are slow, some are quick. You can check that with your market, with other entrepreneurs and founders who are using that funding in your country. So you don't make it like expensive or long, but just have a proper list of the lenders that you can. Okay, so for example, this case was the university. This was the university. They had 2 bank accounts in 2 big banks, the local banks. But the founder says, I need money quickly. I need to buy real estate. Boom, we got the money from alternative lender. Then he calls in a few months time, I need another real estate. Boom, another lender. And then he says, okay, this is too expensive, I want to refinance that in a bank. And we refinanced the owner to his home bank. This is what we did. Okay, then you prepare the outreach tactics. And you must decide email, first call, follow-up email, etc. The most important thing, I think, from everything here is following. So this works, just I will say what to do, what not to do ever. So you have a list of the banks. You find people in the banks, right? So you have a list of the people who are working there. You have a list of the banks. In our webinars and seminars, we teach founders how to do that. You have prepared all the data room. You're ready. So what to do? Actually, irrespective of what you do, you need to be precise in this. Let's say, first, I write an email. Short one. What not to do? Don't put attachment, don't put links, nothing. Just a short email. Hey Sarah, I'm a founder of this and this company. We have this, like a blurb, 5-6 sentences. We have this and this revenue. We need credit line of 100K and a capex investment facility for 900K. In total, we need 1 million. And I saw your bank. I thought it would be nice to reach out. I'm going to talk about more. Let me know how to proceed further. That's it. No attachments, no big emails, no nothing. Then you wait for a few days. If let's say you have a number. If that person doesn't answer, maybe she's ill, maybe she's on vacation. Who knows? Maybe your email isn't spam. Then what you do, you call the manager in the bank and say, hey, I send you email, and you briefly, don't talk for 1 hour, briefly, you just say the same in the email. Did you saw my email? I wrote you, hey, with this company, we do manufacturing, we need 1 million. And then you don't start talk. Can we talk now for 1 hour? You can ask politely, hey, I have a few questions, I want to know how it works. We can talk now if you have 30-40 minutes, or what's the best way? Maybe we can schedule a call. So then either you schedule a call when you're prepared and she's prepared, and then you ask what's the best way. Before the call, do I need any documents for you to send? And she says, yes, send me this. So you say, okay. So you ask that, and then you end up the call, send the documents. Very, very honestly, you say what you have, what you don't have. If she asks too much, you say, okay, what's the one document you need from me to have a first call? And only then you jump on the first call. Only then. So you don't start selling and pitching and telling your story. And again, the first call should be 30-45 minutes, not more. You need to be prepared. You need to show you're professional. So this is the ideal process, and then you start the business. If you call a person and the person doesn't answer, what's the best way to do? Write a WhatsApp or SMS. Hey, it's John from this manufacturing company ABC. We have 1 million revenue. I wrote you an email. I was calling you because I want to talk like how to proceed further. Because imagine Sarah, Thursday evening, she has like 10 unanswered calls and nobody sent an SMS except you. Of course, she reads your SMS and says, okay, then she can answer your SMS or WhatsApp, and then she can get you back. So always follow up, and always after call, if person doesn't answer you, just write who you are, what you want. Because for myself, I'm really pissed off when I have like an unanswered phone call and that person doesn't write me anything. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? What do you want from me? If no answer, I will not answer you. Why should I? Most probably some sales guys calling, trying to sell me something, or serious people will write me. So this is my approach to that. Okay. So when you prepare the list, when you start the outreach, what to do? So what's the application? The critical step is that you apply the knowledge. If you get the knowledge, you don't apply, no problems, but you need to understand when to apply and how to apply. There are different scenarios. First scenario, I don't know, I don't apply. This is where most people sit there, they don't know their numbers, they know their scenarios, their situation, they don't do nothing. They don't grow, is their problem. If you apply and get rejected, no problem. Why? Because you have homework to be done. Now you have a list, like a universe slaps you in the face. A Newton law gets to you, say, hey, the apple goes down. So you apply, you get rejected. Now you have a list of homework, of tasks to be done, and then you go and do them. That's very good. This is why if you need money, you can apply, and if you get rejected, you have homework to be done. Another scenario is you apply and you reject the loan. We use that strategy time from time when the customer says, I just want to know how much money banks will lend me, and I'm ready to pay for that. And I will not take the loans. But I want to know my fundability. Not on math, not on Excel, but in reality. And then remember, if you do that, always, if you reject the loan, always say, thank you very much for your effort. Thank you for going to the credit committee. If there were some invoices to be paid, always pay them. If they charge for credit committee. And then politely say, okay, I'm not proceeding with that. You reject the loan. And it's very good because if next time you apply, they remember you. And they want to run for you. Then the next scenario, you apply and you get a loan. Again, if you get a loan, then you need to read all the terms, sign it properly, understand the risks you're taking, and then you marry with the bank and you work with them. So what's the timeline? You do the homework, you start the outreach with the banks, with the people, you start sending the applications, you start getting the answers from the banks. If you get rejection, you go back, you do the homework, you do it again. If you have an answers and there's an offer, you can leave from the deal and go out or take the money, pay it back, and get back to do the homework and do it again. So this is how in cycles, it's totally fine to move between the banks. It's totally fine to move between the financial strategies. You start with your own, you raise from friends, family, fools, then you do, seed, series A, then you raise alternative lenders, let's say revenue-based financing, then you work there, then you repay everything from a bank, then in 1 year's time you change the bank. It's totally fine to change the financial institutions. Okay. So you apply, get rejected. we'll skip that part. There are different scenarios, 4 different scenarios so that you can have. Because we talk about that in the seminars and webinars. Okay, so these are the 5 steps you do. And what's next? So you can continue watching the videos on YouTube. For that, subscribe, put like and put comments below what you like the most. But for those of you who want to get more, you can get the book, The Ultimate Funding Blueprint Guide. You can get the book and apply to any bank by yourself. Or you can watch any of the recordings of our webinars and seminars on building the winning fundraising strategy. Or actually can buy a course. It's fully recorded. When I think last year, 2025, with few founders, we were running through their own business, through their own numbers, and applying these 5-step fundability blueprint to their own business. I think we had 7 founders, and we do it on a weekly basis, and we're going into each of the stage very deeply, have real cases, real talks. So we have totally recorded that and packaged it on the website. Okay, so from me, that's it. Stay funded and have a nice day.